Good Monday Matters. I hope you had a great Sabbath and are enjoying a new week and all that God has in store for you. My name is Mike Courtney and this is Monday Matters. Every Monday I take a few minutes and talk about something to make your life happier, healthier, and a little bit holier. I'm a little bit late today and I'm in a different place. I had a great day yesterday. My grandson Jackson was baptized at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I left there and drove into Nashville and spoke for a church, and turned around, drove back to Murfreesboro, where Jackson was doing his kind of biannual rock band concert. Got to see that. And then I got in the car and drove to Flagler Beach, Florida, to spend a couple of days with really good friends, David and Juanita Stills. They are just special people, and just great they have a beautiful place. Great to be with them, and I went fishing this morning. Just fun. It's fun. So good to do that. So I thought maybe for Monday Matters I'd talk about what I talked about yesterday at this church. I talked about the story of Joseph, and Joseph was Jacob's favorite son out of 12 sons. Jacob favored him, gave him a coat of many colors. The brothers didn't like that. They were jealous. They decided to kill Joseph, but instead they threw him in a pit and then sold him to Egyptian slave traders, and he ended up in Potiphar's house, where he rose through the ranks and became the chief of everything in Potiphar's house. Potiphar's wife lied about him, tried to seduce him. When he wouldn't follow through with that, she lied about him. He ended up in prison. In prison, he interpreted dreams for a baker and a cupbearer. Told the bakers he was going to be killed. The cupbearer is going to be restored back to his place in the palace, in Pharaoh's palace. And when he gets back, please remember him. Well, the cupbearer forgot for a couple of years. Finally remembered when Pharaoh had a dream he needed interpreted. Joseph interpreted that dream. As a result of that, he becomes second only to Pharaoh over all of Egypt, and helped them through a very difficult 7-year famine. And the outcome of that was that his family and the entire Israelite nation was saved. They were brought to Egypt and saved from the famine. And God used Joseph in an amazing way. So that's the story. You know the story. But these three observations I made out of that story. The first is that it's difficult to tell good circumstances from bad circumstances when you're in the middle of them. Joseph's story it's great, and it's hard. He's his father's favorite son. His brothers try to kill him. He rises to the top in Potiphar's house. He ends up in prison. He interprets a dream. Nothing comes of it. He finally gets out of prison and rises to the top and saves the nation of Israel. It's when you are in the middle of good stuff and bad stuff, it's hard to tell. So you don't trust your circumstances. There's a little old lady in the church I grew up in who used to say, I'm doing okay under the circumstances. And her pastor would say, well, what are you doing under the circumstances? Our view of life and our view of how good God is to us is not dictated by our circumstances. So when you are facing very difficult things, Peter and Silas are in prison, and God uses that to save the Philippian jailer. It's hard to tell good stuff from bad stuff, good circumstances from bad circumstances when you're right in the middle of them. So the lesson is, you don't trust your circumstances. You don't decide if life is good or not good based on your circumstances. Here's the second thing. Good people can do bad things, and bad people can do good things, and everybody can do stupid things sometimes. Jacob is the deceiver, but God uses him to be the father of Israel. Joseph's brothers, probably pretty good guys, but they get jealous and they do some really bad stuff. Joseph's a good guy, but he is kind of sticks it to them at the end. Pharaoh's a bad guy, but God uses him to do good stuff, to save the nation of Israel. So good people can do bad things and bad people can do good things, and you don't trust people. You learn not to keep your eyes on people, but you do learn to forgive them, by the way. Paul says, and we know that all things work together for good, those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Sometimes when people do something to you that seems like a bad thing, God can use that for good. So just give people a lot of grace. And by the way, including yourself. Listen, I've done some of the dumbest things in my life, really dumb things. But God works things together for good. So it's hard to tell good circumstances from bad circumstances when you're in the middle of them. Good people can do bad things and bad people can do good things, and everybody can do stupid things all the time. So you don't trust your circumstances. You don't trust people. Here's the third thing. God's ways are not our ways. Sometimes our ways get in the ways of God's ways, but God's way, God will have his way anyway, all the time. This is a hard story. It's hard to know if Joseph is up or down or in or out, if he's winning or losing. And God certainly does not choose to save the nation of Israel the way that we might choose to do that. But God's ways are not our ways. Isaiah 55, I think, maybe verses 8 and 9. For my ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts, says the Lord. God's ways are not our ways. And so I learned to not trust my circumstances, not trust people, including myself, but I do trust God. Paul says again, we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. What is seen is temporary, what is unseen is eternal. So if you are in the middle of stuff and you think it's all bad, it may not be. If some people are doing some things to you and you're trying to figure out how could that be, well, people can just do stupid things. And if things are not working out exactly the way you want them to, remember, God's ways are not your ways, and his timing is different from our timing. So whatever you're going through, you don't trust circumstances, you don't trust people, don't even trust yourself, but you do trust God. You trust God. For I know the plans I have for you, he says, plans to bless you and not to harm you, plans to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. You can trust God. So let me go back to end how I started. Jackson got baptized yesterday. That was neat. That's so neat. Josh baptized him. If you know much of my story, you know that I made some really bad choices. I just did some dumb things, and I put our family in circumstances that looked really, really bad. And yet yesterday, there we were, standing beside Josh and Jennifer while Jackson is being baptized. And I'm thinking, I can't figure out how we get to this place without having gone through the stuff that we are going through. God will use your circumstances. God will use the people around you. And God's way will be done every time if we learn to trust him. Well, thanks for listening to Monday Matters. I'll post a picture of the fish I caught, and hope you have a great day. I will post something each day about trusting God. Thanks for being a part of this. Have a blessed day.